Okay, it's the 16th of January. This is the YouTube video for today. Again, I don't put one out every single day, so you have to keep checking back here. There's some way that you can do this where it'll notify you if I post one. So this is where the weather will be today. So when you're on this, subscribe to it, hit the like button, whatever, and hit the bell so you can get notified, so you can get this information. Okay, so to start with, we've got a lot of questions like, is winter over? Are we going to get any snow? What's going to go on? Basically, I've been showing on my other videos that we're going to be in for below normal temperatures, basically February, March, into April. But the problem is that the center of the cold will be to our west. And as you can see, this is showing average through here. This is to the end of the month. You can see the cold air working its way down. There's a strathwarm going to happen out here, and when that does, upper atmosphere, it brings cold air down and it sinks down. California is going to dry out. So what we've had going on here is we've had this dipping down and then up. It's now going to dip down and through here and up. So the coastal regions, who are snow light so far this year, are still going to be, as we go towards the end of the month, on the edge. It's still a boundary. You got to get a low, and I've always said this, you got to get a low off the coast in the right spot so that the warm air doesn't overrun enough to create rain. And then you can do that. Then you could get you can get your big snowstorms in the I-95 corridor. There's this storm out here that's moving very slow, which is hitting New England. Up here, Rhode Island, and up this way, and it was too far out to sea, and that's the problem we run into. Either we get a low that's somewhere like right in there, or if it goes out here too far, it just can't reach, and then other times it comes up too close or it cuts to the west, and then you're in the warm side. That's here. You can see the line here, and we're right. It's going to be a battleground. Now, you always look at analogs, what's going on, what's current, what's going on, and then you look back and try to find things. This shows you where the water, it's cool, the ocean is cool, where it's warm along the coast, warm out here south of the Aleutians and stuff like that, and cold right around the equator. You look out here to see if a low pressure system comes up, like a typhoon type thing, but comes up just to the east of Japan and then curves up. Usually 10 days after that, you have something on the east coast. You look out here by the Indian Ocean to see where there's storms are popping up, where there's no storms popping up. All that leads to what happens and the oscillation of the pattern where the winds are going and what guides everything. And you have to look at all those things when you decide to say to somebody, hey, it's going to get cold or it's going to snow. Now, I found this, and this totally does a good job explaining it. See, when you look at analogs, you look at where this is at, and then what was the weather in the United States when you had cool air here. And you can see cold air came down. You had the southeastern part of the United States was a little bit above normal, and then in between was your battleground for normal temperatures and where precipitation would probably go between the warm and the cold air. Then you look out here, and you got warm water out here south of the Aleutians. So what was that pattern like? Well, there's your cold air, again, southeast ridge, and then you have in-between pattern where things got to fall the right way, and you can get a good snowstorm along the east coast, or you can get rain. Then you look out here and you say, well, here's the equator, and this is very cold for this time of year, below normal. And then you look, and there you go again. There's your cold air coming in. Most of this country is cold. The ridge is a little further out, and then you have normal temperatures close to the coast here. This is probably your better pattern for trying to get snow. So this all kind of leads you to what's upcoming. I mean, this is perfectly done right here. This is a blend of all those patterns. And so that you can see you got cold air in place, and basically eastern coastal regions are normal temperature-wise. And you got that warmer air right along North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, or down to Florida. And then cold air actually goes back down into Texas, and they don't have too much luck with cold air down there. So what you start looking for is are the storms going to go to the west? Can they hang on, or can they go west and then reform off the east coast where there's warmer water and then come up slowly and be blocked and create snow? That's what you have to look for, if that's what you're looking for, is snow. But you know that temperatures basically are going to be below normal to normal. They won't be above normal. So today's the 16th, and as we get towards the end of the month, I've heard some people forecasting snow around the 20th. I think that's a little bit too early. The cold air won't be in place the way we want it, but I can see something popping up a couple of times, once towards the 26th or so, and once again the first week of February. This is towards the 28th when I think there's a possibility of something. Now, if you look at this, you can see there is snow up in this area up in here. Um, I originally thought it might come a little east. I was kind of saying if it will come 100 miles to the east, we can get some snow in the I-95 corridor, but it pretty much stayed the way it was going to go. Okay, so just so you can follow this, I won't go real slow. I'll kind of go through this. This pink area up here is usually very cold and below freezing. White areas are, close to freezing, and then your blue areas are a little warmer. And you got to get out to see these yellows way out here. Well, you got to get to those for the actual warmer temperatures. But we'll watch this in motion. This will take you out to Tuesday. Let's see, Tuesday afternoon. You can see temperatures 30s and 40s. And you can pretty much see how it goes. That yellows tries to creep back up on Thursday, and that's associated with moisture. And then it kind of pushes itself off, and then cold air comes in behind that storm, and then we get into around the 21st, 22nd, and you can see some extremely cold air up here. That has to do partly with the snow cover that's up here. And then you can see this pretty much stays around freezing. We're up to the 24th. Let's get to 24th. Here's the 24th afternoon high, 23rd afternoon highs, I should say. They're at freezing or below for a lot of the state, and just along the I-95 corridor, you're in the low 40s. You get a low off the coast here, those temperatures will drop for the storm. So that's the one thing to keep in mind. Now this takes you into Tuesday. Temperatures climb back into the 30s during the day. You can see how warm air comes up. This is the 25th. Warm air here, cold air back here, front right through here. You look at that and you know there's rain, and then that pushes through. Cold air comes behind it. Some teens begin to show up around the 27th at night in the evening, and then overnight you can see them drop. This would be like Friday the 27th. You can see temperatures down in the teens behind that storm, and then you can see these are the cold temperatures, below zero temperatures. They're just hanging to the north, and you can see they try to come down real slow. It's always a transition. It just doesn't go from 60 to -5. Rarely does that happen unless you get a cold front coming through from the Arctic. But this is a slow changeover, and then once it changes, it pretty much is going to try to stay there and not move, and then we're going to be stuck in that pattern. But you can see these temperatures. This is January 30th. Temperatures are chilly, and so you want to know how much snow we're going to get. Yeah, I know everybody wants to know how much snow. This is what's out here early this week. It's this rotation out here will continue to throw light snow back into New England. In Rhode Island and up towards Maine and all. We stay pretty much out of that situation. But then as we get into late in the week, there's rain, and then there could be a little bit of snow associated with that. And then we have to move this out towards once that storm goes by, we get lake effect. That's what you see out here. This is off the lakes, and this is the rotation around that storm. You can see that storm has stayed up in the New England area, and then this is the one people thought was going to be our snowstorm, but I don't think so. Then there's this one. This is the one that starts to come through early on the 23rd, Monday the 23rd. You can see this one comes up, and again, Philadelphia, New York, the I-95 corridor. This one on the 23rd, 24th, don't seem to be getting this one. as of right now. So it's going to be tough. So if you're living down in Philly and New York or central New Jersey and you're waiting for a big storm, you might have to wait a little bit longer into February. I still think you're going to get one monster storm off the coast. And I'm just moving this out towards the end of the month. We're taking this out to the 28th of January. And you can see pretty good snows. Just the I-95 corridor getting ripped. Snows to the north. But this all bodes well, because if you build up cold air, or snow cover, I should say, to the north, it refrigerates the air. And therefore, when the winds blow over this, it's going to blow colder air further south when these fronts come through. Now, this is your weekly control model, 7-day snowfall, which would be the end of January to the 4th of February, actually does show snow beginning to get down into the I-95 corridor. So that refrigerant effect, that I like to call it, starts to take effect. And again, all you gotta do is get a little storm right here off the coast. I'll say right where you're seeing this. I'm gonna put a mark right here. If you can get a low to sit right in this area, right in here, that's your I-95 snowstorm. That's where you need it. And so you got to keep an eye out for that. But there's plenty of snow coming for most of the state. I won't say everybody, but for most of the state, 90% of the state. And then you just got to watch these storms coming up the coast. I get a lot of complaints from people down in the southeastern part, and I'm part of that we're getting ripped off. I kind of see hope in my area, which is right there. And I see some hope starting to come down into South Jersey, Central Jersey, and Philadelphia, and New York, and coming that way. Once this cold air gets in here, it's going to be up and down for a little while. But once it gets in here steady and sets up shop, cold air over the eastern part of the United States, or northeastern part, I think you got excellent chance that something, it's going to come up to the north, and then it's going to hand off to here, and then form, and then that's what we get into, a northeastern storm. So whether you agree with me or not, I can't make you agree with me, but I can just tell you that that's what I see as a possibility. A low comes up, it's somewhere like over here, and then it trades off down here, and then you have that situation. This one goes away, this goes up, and it's a big snowstorm. So we got to watch. I'm not calling for that big one. I'm saying there's snow out there, as you can see these totals, but I'm watching for that one off the coast. I still think, and I'm going to say this, I still think there's a big snowstorm for the coast somewhere in the middle of February. It's just, things I see. All right, this has been Fred. That's your YouTube. Subscribe, hit the like button, hit the bell, which makes you get reminded when there's going to be something posted. Again, I don't do this every day, but on YouTube, because it's more in depth. Like this is a 13-minute plus video. Okay, take it easy. This has been Fred. I hope I answered some of your questions. And for you doubters, hey, you just got to believe. All right, take it easy.